Northeast Texas. This is the area. They've opened all of this up. Used to be a lot of big red oak trees growing along this line, this power line, and along this freeway. They cut all the big old native trees, and this was just they expanded this road. So you see over there where that red dirt is, they built another road on that side that'll be going westbound. Right now is one road or a one lane road going east and west. And there's going to be this side going east and the other side going west. So they took about a little over 3 acres from us over on that side. There was a lot of big old mature trees over there. But yeah, they basically went over there and cleared a lot of stuff. I had a lot of young tulip poplar that I planted over there. They cleared all of that stuff, but they took all of that. But this was more closed in. But at least all of these pine trees that I planted most of these pines. The short leaves kind of came up on their own, but all of those loblollies, I planted those some years back in 2012, 13. I planted them. Planted other stuff in here, hazelnuts. Some, they had little leaves on them. That's hazelnuts right there. There somewhere. No leaves, so they just look like twigs and sticks in this video, so I ain't gonna focus much on them. There's more of them over here. When I planted them, these pine trees wasn't all branched out here, but had a lot of other stuff growing. But I had a huge hazel bush growing right here at the side of this wood line, and it had nuts on it this year. One of my guys leasing got my guy that come and do cutting and trimming on the property with a brush mower. Had him to come in, and he wasn't here with him, and so he brushed down all of my hazelnuts. I came over here to harvest hazelnuts back in September, and because I saw those hazelnuts when I came in on the 4th of July, and so I was coming to harvest them and came, and that's what I found, those little sticks, because he cut them down. So didn't get any hazels this year. Cut a few things. He cut over here, kind of. I know he was trying to open it up, but when you got guys that's coming, you gotta kind of have supervision and give specific instructions. And the guys leasing don't know everything that I got planted out here. But I had plum trees along this trail, because this is the trail going in and back towards the feeders that the guys leasing has hunted, sitting in the back. But also this spot here, all of this used to be pasture land. And like I said, I planted a bunch of pines back there. Started planting those pines in January 2013. It was not long after my great uncle passed. I ordered him when he was still living. He passed in November of 2012. And then I started planting others. I wanted to experiment, so I got longleaf pines and I started planting them. That's a young one right there. I planted them at different stages. I bought some in grass stage and planted them all back over this way, because you see all of this native blue stem grass. I want to at some point start doing burns over here and make some good turkey habitat. In this part of Anderson County has been several wild turkey releases, and so I established a co-op. Heck, I'm trying to think what year I did that. I think 17. I think a friend of mine's in Brushy Creek connected him with our turkey biologist, and he had turkeys released over in Brushy Creek, which is about 12, 15 miles from here, southwest of here. And they got turkeys released on their place, and right after the turkeys was released on his place, I started my co-op. All of the landowners to the south of us in that direction, about 20-something thousand acres worth of landowners, so we can get connected and start managing our habitat for wildlife. I haven't yet done a burn out here because I got young tree. Now these longleaf would have withstood the fire. They would have been able to take the fire. I'm trying to look over here because the guy that did the cutting, he may have cut some longleaf. I hope he didn't, but yeah, I planted all of those. That's in bottle brush stage, and I'm gonna do some burning that here at some point. I gotta go and do some thinning along the fence line, but it'll help get out of the privet hedge that's trying to grow in the shade of the trees. And I planted some everything out here. I planted blueberries out here. I planted all kind of stuff, but the longleaf pines, they can withstand fire, and we're gonna light a fire through here. And when we get the turkeys released on our place, I want to have some good nest and habitat for them. So I'll back that away. I got longleaf pine that I started planting years back, and they grow pretty quick. People say they're a little bit slower than the loblollies, but still they're not too slow. And the ones I planted were potted trees, so. And I very well may get some more of them and stick in some open areas that I want to start planting more pine trees. But also in here, yeah, he came and cut all over in here. And I had little chinkapin trees growing in here. So who knows, they may be cut over. And I got all kind of, I got chestnut oaks and all those stuff planted in here, but this is the time of year where much doesn't have any leaves on the trees. I'm trying to see what that is. Huh. But yeah, I don't know what that is. Much don't have much leaves on the trees right now except for the pines. And wherever there's a chinkapin or wherever there's an oak, can't really tell what they are right now with no leaves on them. And I got some more chinkapin trees to plant. But this part of the property is set up just for wildlife. So you get a lot of good animals coming through here. And now, last weekend was the last weekend of season, and saw a nice buck show up on the camera like right after the season, and he made it, but he wasn't stupid enough to get shot. So he was showing up at night anyway. But don't think any of the guys that's leasing it from us took any deer off. Look at that pine tree with all that mud on it. That's pigs. That's pig rubs right there. And so they're out here hunting. They can shoot all the pigs they want. I don't eat pigs, so I'll let them have that. But it's a lot of pigs out here. Oh yeah, he cut over here too. I had chinkapins growing in here. Let's see. But yeah, all of these pine trees, I grew them as little bitty seedlings. They were little tiny seedlings that I stuck in the ground. And look at them now. Nice forest that's growing up pretty well. This stuff here, that's why I want to do the prescribed burns. All these vines, the honeysuckle and all that stuff. Then we had a big storm that blew up through here. So it blew some of the tops out of the pine trees over there. That hurricane that came back this past summer that hit us down north of the Houston area, came all the way up here. Them winds came and it messed up a lot of trees. So it's a lot of trees that fell. And that giant top fell out of that big pine tree there. So when I can get in here and cut along the fence line between us and the neighbor, and mark or clear around anything that I planted that's still young. Stuff like that, you run a fire through there and burn. But you want to cut all of those vines and stuff down so it won't run up in the trees and kill your big mature trees if the fire gets too hot. So you're gonna need to do some maintenance and do some trimming in here, and then we're gonna run a fire through here. Take advantage of some of the land owner benefits in this area to manage for wildlife and turkey and deer and all that stuff. Now when we come up here in May, all that stuff right there, that's blackberry vines. It'll stick you to pieces, but rip you to shreds if you try to walk through it. But yeah, the wintertime is the best time to do the cutting and clearing. So we're going to come back here in February, because on the other side I have chestnut trees that they've gotten pretty big, and I need to do some pruning. I need to do some pruning underneath, so it's easy to walk underneath. And when I get my guy to come in and cut before we harvest chestnuts, he can drive his tractor under them. So we're going to come back in February. That's the time when most of your stuff and most of your trees are dormant. Yeah, the wintertime is when you want to do that. In the summertime, that's when a lot of diseases and fungus and stuff like that can kind of infect your trees. So you want to do it when it's cool. And so, but absolutely, the wintertime is the best time. But definitely want to get out of here and do some opening up, some thinning some stuff out. And at some point, we're going to do some burns here. So these blackberries, they gotten so thick, like I said, you walk through there, that'll rip you to shreds. Now, in May, there's some good, sweet, juicy berries on there, but any other time of the year, I don't like the food with them much. So that's the feeder over there, my guy that's leasing. I lease this place to a couple of friends. And he keeps his feeders running out here. I wanted them to do more plots. I wanted them to plant this trail up in ryegrass in the fall so the deer would come, because if you just keep feeders running throughout the year around here, we got the pigs, the wild hogs pretty bad, and they know where the corn is. If you just gonna keep corn growing and keep corn throwing year round, and so this is where they're gonna come and eat. So they're not gonna be as attracted to the green stuff like the ryegrass as the deer and all of that would. So I'll try to tell them, if I were them, you know, I would basically plant all of this up. We had it tilled up. My guy brought his tractor in and tilled it up, and I thought they were planning on planting clover or ryegrass in here, but they didn't plant anything. They just relying on corn. So that, but the ryegrass and the clover would have pulled in the deer. And so we're here just ahead of a storm. It's a big storm that's coming in, probably late tomorrow. We'll be back down in the south, so we'll probably, at first we were supposed to get snow, but the weather's changed. So don't look like when the precipitation happens, we're not going to get the icy stuff we're going to get up here, down home. So we're going to basically get out of here before all of that stuff hits. And they're going to get quite a bit of snow and freezing rain, so it's probably going to be some more damage from the trees when you do the burns. Trees at risk of dying. So with the burns, it's usually a good time. Most people around here, because like I was saying earlier in this video, I started a co-op in this area with a lot of landowners, so we can get work with Parks and Wildlife to release eastern wild turkeys in this area. And so most of the people that have been using the programs through the Habitat Incentive Program and through the NRCS, they do the burns from this point on, like from January up until March. That's a good time to do it. It's typically after deer season. People don't want to do a lot of messing around and during the deer season when they're hunting and stuff. But while most things are dormant, but why people would do it into March is because stuff has started blooming down here. And so you'll get the better burns to do are the hot burns when you got a lot of the green stuff, the vines and stuff growing up in the spring, and you want to kill a lot of that stuff back. Right now stuff is dormant, so you can burn it, and when it starts getting hot, it'll just grow back up. So the better time to burn would be probably like March. They've even done it as far as late. I've seen burns. We were turkey hunting on some of the national forests in East Texas, and we were out there in April, and the people came looking for us, trying to get us to clear the woods because they were about to do a burn in April. And we like, ain't this kind of late for turkeys that might be sitting on the nest? And like they said, they'll just start over if that happens to be the case. But they like to do a hot burn when stuff has grown up because it'll knock back a lot of the brush and stuff that started growing up, and it'll kill it back. But if you burn it now while it's dormant, it's fine, and it'll help. It'll get rid of some of these saplings and stuff, and some of the junk trees that's just saplings that's not doing that well in the shade of these other trees. And so you can do that, and it'll clean up stuff just like that big pine limb and all of the dead trees that have fallen through here. A burn would clean up stuff this time of year. But if you really want to knock stuff back, you want to do it like a spring burn, like in March or after stuff has started blooming. And as long as you still got a lot of fuel, because some places it get too green that there is going to be hard to burn. But if you got a lot of stuff like pine needles on the ground and stuff like that, that fire run through there as long as it's dry enough. We were trying to do a burn a few years back in our co-op. A lot of landowners were trying to burn and use some of the incentive money through the programs, and it was so wet that spring they couldn't really burn. But when everything's dry and it's cold in the winter like this, it's pretty easy to burn. So from this point on up until early spring, it's a good time to burn. Look at that, that's a cherry tree. I came through here planting cherry seeds and stuff, and chinky pins and post oaks. Anything that'll produce something. And so a lot of that stuff is coming up. Let's see. I mean, all of this was pasture lands. It was just back there on that side of the trail where the bigger trees are, was the timber up here. But I planted it all out. Planted all that pasture up with trees. You can do it on your own. I think if it's your first time, for me, like I said, when I do it out here, I got a friend up the road. He does his own burning. And so I'm probably going to get him to come do it. But a lot of the landowners to the south of me in the co-op, they hire somebody. It's companies and stuff that'll do it. But man, I'm going to get out here and do some trimming along the fence line and clearing so the fire won't run to the neighbor's place. And I'll let the neighbors know in case they want to be out here. And I'm probably going to do a lot of it myself. Like I said, right now, the trees that I don't want burned, I forgot that question that you asked. It's a lot of, I got chinky pin trees out here. So it's our native version of a chestnut, like relative to an American chestnut. And when they're small, the fire will kill any small tree. The tree's got to be older, with that furrowed bark, the little cracks in the bark with some layers, not the smooth bark or the thin bark. The little thin, smooth bark, that fire run under there and it'll kill it. So see the bark on that pine, how thick it is, and some of the older oaks, that same type of bark, that'll withstand the fire. They're made to be able to withstand fire like that. But anything that's a few years old, it's probably gonna get burnt up. So those are the trees that's at risk. But yeah, when I do some burning, it's gonna be my own burning. I mean, I've helped with some burns. I've done youth events, like we got a wildlife management area up in northwest Anderson County called the Gus England Wildlife Management Area. I used to do youth events up there, and friends with the biologists up there, and so we would do that kind of stuff for the kids up there, and they would allow us to participate and show how it was done and stuff. So I've been around enough burns to and know enough people where I would do it myself. But I would recommend someone else. If you don't really have any experience with burning, hire somebody. It's a lot of. I actually got a list of companies that I would send to all of my landowners in the co-op. So, but yeah, it's some companies, it just depends. The pricing can vary. But yeah, yeah, that's the thing, and that's the problem we got out here. East Texas, a lot of that. Well, I don't mind the yaupon as much unless it get real thick, but what we got out here is the privet hedge. That's terrible. And it just grows up, and it grows up thicker than the yaupon. So that's why we coming back out here next month to really do some thinning and brush hogging to get a lot of that privet hedge out. It's not as much yaupon as it is the privet hedge. That's even right there. Now up here on this hill, this is a sandy soil. That privet hedge grow everywhere, and it almost looked like yaupon, but it got a slightly different leaf and a different berry on it. So, but you open this stuff up, it's good for the quail. I mean, you don't see a lot of quail in East Texas anymore, but some of the places that burn, like Gus England, and heck, I was hunting deep East Texas in the piney woods, turkey hunting, and I heard quail out there. But the burning, it helps the native grasses. Like that, all that native grass to grow up, that's what birds like quail and turkeys and all of that stuff like. And so burning will influence that type of stuff. That's good nesting cover for turkeys and quail and stuff like that. So that's what you want growing on your place. And a lot of places, especially when it was farmland and a lot of grazing happened, you got a lot of Bermuda, and there's some of that out here too. But when you open that stuff up, it allows the grass to grow through it. So when we open up some of those pine trees out there, when we clear out some of the scrubby trees and we run the fire through there, and it'd be kind of like a savanna. You'll have scattered trees, you'll still have some canopy, but the sun can touch the floor. And then that native grass will start growing up under the tree canopy and stuff like that. The turkeys are drawn to it. They nest in that stuff. The deer have their fawns and that kind of stuff. Now the deer like the thick stuff, so I would leave some thick areas, but I just wouldn't want the exotic stuff like the honeysuckle like that, and the privet hedge and all of that stuff growing and taking over everything, because it will take it over. But the burning helps with that. So you can leave certain areas thick, because you know deer like thick cover, but if you got turkeys in your area, that's how they get ate up. By thick cover, the predators can get them easier when it's a lot of thick cover. So burning is good. It's good for the soil, but it just helps get the native stuff growing. Yeah, this is where they moved that other blind from. We had another blind over here. They moved it over to the chestnut field. They need to come over here and clean up though. I'm just checking up here because I planted some chinkapin trees and I got some more planting to do next month. Got some more chinkapin trees to stick in the ground. So as far as for turkeys, your land tracts can, it varies to get us. What we have to do out here, we have to have a co-op to even get turkeys released. And so with eastern turkeys in East Texas, because it's a method to protect them, they want you to have a minimum of 10,000 acres before the state will release any turkeys in a co-op. And how we did that, here I don't have that much land. We got 30 acres. It was once 50 acres. We got 30 acres now, and I partner with all of the landowners to the south of me. And so I started looking up, visiting, sending letters, and just kind of introducing myself to the neighbors that I didn't know. And we came together because everybody wanted to see turkeys. And we came together, everybody agreed we would do stuff to improve our habitat, or some people that didn't want to do anything and that was scared of fire, they just wanted to see the turkeys, so they just wanted to be a part of the co-op. So those tracts where they weren't doing much were just enough to say that this landowner is involved, so it's a connecting tract so we can have the contiguous acres to establish a turkey co-op, but that's the minimum to get them released by the state in East Texas. But man, if you have 20 acres of land and you're managing it and you already got turkeys in the area and you do the kind of habitat work and the stuff that they like, where you open up those forests, you get that native grass growing, you got canopy, you got food and stuff they like, you got hardwood bottoms with acorn trees, and you got water in the area, turkeys will hang around as long as you got good roost sites for them and it's open where they can survive. I also got a place in Southwest Texas. It's just 22 acres. Every year I go out there and kill turkeys on it. Every single year. And so they've roosted on that place, but a lot of times they roost on neighboring properties along creek bottoms, and I can call them over onto my place. But they come through there because in Southwest Texas, I got feeders running out there. It's a different type of terrain. But when you're talking about eastern turkeys, it's a different type of management that you're going to do. And so you want to get them to, you want to just keep open forests, native grasses, open understory, and food growing on there. Heck, you got these deer feeders out here. I don't know if you can see that on that highlight. Deer feeders. Heck, a turkey come through here and peck at the corn under those feeders. That's just something to draw them down. In East Texas, you don't have a fall season for turkeys, and you can't hunt them near corn. So you got to call them in. So, but you want the stuff to keep them in the areas. So, as long as they're in the area, the fun part about turkey hunting is you call them in from wherever they are, and you can use decoys or whatever, but you just want them in the area. So the good part about out here is all of my neighbors want turkeys, and so many of them are doing stuff to keep them in the area. Many of them are thinning out their woods. The ones that don't want to burn, they just pay somebody, and there's funds available for them, but they'll pay somebody to come in and just do some brush hogging or do some mulching to open up their woods and stuff. If they're burn, it's some of the landowners, they've seen fires, they've had fires break out on them and just heard horror stories. So not all of them wanted to burn, but when they seen the neighbors start burning, that some of them decided to chance it and do it, and there's good benefits to it, and they saw how the land looked afterwards. So it's more people out here that's burning now. So, but you do stuff like that, and like I said, just depend on where you are. If you are somewhere where it's eastern turkeys, or in the piney woods, or in the hardwoods, and it's forest, man, and depending on what type of forest, if it's your whole place is covered in forest, I would really open it up and allow the sun. So if you're going to burn it, open it up, do some thinning in there first, and then come back maybe that following year and burn like all of the tree carcasses. If you didn't do a timber harvest and you just went in there and cut stuff down and you cleared out the brush, then do a burn to open it up, and that'll create the kind of habitat where they'll come and they'll use that area for nesting. And if it's food and water, I know people like out in Southwest Texas, there's not a lot of water out there. I got one of them big storage. They used to store grains in them and water and stuff like that. And I got one of those out there where it fills a water trough. And so something to keep water out there on the place. And they're always going to come to where water is. Like I was mentioning earlier, the trees I also plant out here are nut trees. They produce nuts. So got acorn trees out here, all kind of oak trees. I got various oaks. I got white oaks, water oaks, pin oaks, southern red oak. I got chinkapin trees, and on the other side I got chestnut trees. So all of that is hardwood. Okay, you live in Humble. Okay, well we live in Huffman. So yeah, we can do that. We can talk, but Huffman ain't too far away from Humble. So like I said, we just drive up here and check on our place, my family place. But and we're getting ready to leave. We just wanted to stop by and check things and plan for when we come back up here next month to do some work. So we're about to head back down to Huffman now. So Huffman, New Caney area. So yeah, we can connect sometime. But all right, we're about to get ready to walk out of here. And I always try to give an update when we come up on what we've been doing down here. I think videos from way back years ago when I started uploading videos, you can see this was all open and now it's growing up, and so it's just about ready for a burn, as most of these trees are older and can withstand fire now. So wanted to do a quick update. But for everyone that's joining, and if you want to look me up, you can, hey man, God bless you. You can look me up on Facebook, Terrence Jackson, or I'm trying to think where else to direct you. Or just send me a message on this video, and I can send you my info. But definitely we can connect at some point. But God bless you. God bless everyone else that have tuned in to our little video. And we'll be doing a few more of them. We're going to start getting better at doing videos. But thank you all for watching. God bless.